U.S. Deputy Chief of Mission Andrew Schofer led a team of U.S. officials to Sindh on 27 February to visit U.S.-funded programs that are helping Pakistanis address nutrition, health, and protection challenges caused by the devastating 2022 floods. The United States has committed more than $200 million in flood relief, disaster resilience, and food security support for Pakistan.
My name is Andrew Schofer, and I'm the Deputy Chief of the U.S. Mission in Pakistan. Today I am in Mir Kokas, where the United States is supporting UNICEF's efforts to provide nutrition and health services to Pakistanis affected by the devastating 2022 flooding. Today I have seen firsthand U.S. flood recovery funding in action. I saw the healthcare services provided to flood-affected individuals, including the distribution of USAID-provided specialized food to treat children's malnutrition. This is just one example of how the United States continues to assist the people of Pakistan during this difficult time.
Andy Schofer met UNICEF representatives to better understand how the floods have impacted the overall health situation in Pakistan and to discuss malnutrition concerns. He also observed the health care services provided to affected population, including the distribution of US-funded specialized foods to treat severe acute malnutrition.
Which, as you can see, has been affected by the flooding. The water is still here. We've been meeting with some of the people of the village who have suffered and looking at some of the projects that we, through USAID, UNICEF, and the international community, are projects we're undertaking to try and help the victims of the flooding.
Andrew Schofer also traveled to Giokoloi village, where additional US-supported health and nutrition services are provided by UNICEF through a mobile clinic. UNICEF is also providing awareness about child protection and gender-based violence prevention and response services for flood-affected communities at this site. Ambassador Blom toured a warehouse where USAID procured food is being stored for onward distribution to flood-affected areas in Sindh and Balochistan. This food is being given to severely malnourished children and is just one example of how the United States has led a robust international effort to support the most vulnerable Pakistani communities. U.S. Ambassador Don Blom has announced an additional $30 million in humanitarian assistance to support flood-affected populations in Pakistan. This new funding brings the United States' total assistance to Pakistan for flood response, food security, and disaster preparedness and capacity building efforts to $97 million this year. U.S. Ambassador made the announcement during a visit with USAID's implementing partner, ACTED, in the Shikarpur district of Sindh.
And I'd like to begin by expressing my deepest condolences for the people who've suffered from these horrific floods. Today, I am very pleased to announce an additional $30 million in humanitarian assistance to support the flood response, bringing the total amount of U.S. government assistance to more than $97 million.
He helped to distribute emergency shelter and hygiene kits to flood-affected people. Ambassador Blom also traveled to Makhno village, where USG emergency shelter kits are being used as temporary housing by the flood-affected community. While there, he spoke with flood victims to learn about the impact of the flooding and understand their needs. The new funding will expand efforts to address immediate needs, scaling up assistance to the most affected communities and enabling USAID to reach more than 2 million people. With the additional funding, the U.S. government through USAID will provide life-saving food, nutrition, and health assistance to mitigate increased food insecurity and malnutrition resulting from the impact of the floods, as well as curb the rise of diseases resulting from stagnant flood waters. The new funding will also provide shelter supplies to help families rebuild, as well as winterization kits to help families prepare as cold weather approaches. And because women and girls are disproportionately impacted by natural disasters like flooding, the United States is providing increased protection support to prevent gender-based violence as well as provide support for survivors. Finally, logistic supports to partners will help accelerate the delivery of relief assistance to those in need. Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif said, grateful to U.S. government for the announcement of an additional $30 million in humanitarian assistance for flood victims. With the start of winter, challenges of food, health and shelter still persist. World should promptly contribute to UN aid appeal to mitigate the impact of tragedy. Foreign Minister Bilal Bhutto Zardari took to the Twitter to state, U.S. Ambassador has announced an additional $30 million of assistance. We are grateful to our American friends for their consistent support in this difficult time.
Ambassador Bloom and the Council General and the entire team for visiting the Chief Ministers as and visiting Sindh. I'm grateful for the help that they've reached out at this difficult time when we're facing unprecedented rains and flood situation in the province. Pakistan and the United States have been great friends, and here in Sindh we are especially grateful for the help that the US government has been giving in education, in culture, in the energy sector, in the health sector in the province of Sindh, and we look forward to a very strong and good relationship with the United States. Thank you.
Minister, for seeing me today. We just had a good meeting, and we talked about some of the hardships and suffering that have been caused by the recent rains and flooding. And we're very happy that we're able to announce today a new $1 million U.S. grant that's going to go to help Sindhi farming communities build their resilience in the face of extreme weather events like this that unfortunately have become more common in recent years. It'll also help the Sindh government as well as the governments of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa and Gilgit-Baltistan to plan for their disaster relief to deal with future flooding situations.